in high school there are many different groups of people, different cliques. One of the most stigmatized, in my opinion, groups of all of them is the high school marching band. I'm sure that there are many of you in this class who are in high school marching band. Some of you have said something to me about it. I don't know if you're all fessing up, but this group kind of comes with a little baggage. It portrays this group as nerdy kids. They're all one hive-minded group. They all think the same. They're all equally as passionate about their music. Some media outlets, like TV shows, show the band to be very passionate, but sometimes a little bit thinking that they're better at producing their music than they are. I know there was one band portrayal that I saw in particular in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. That's a TV show on the Disney Channel. They portrayed their band as really into their music and really passionate, and then when the band played, it was awful. They just sounded terrible. And I feel like a lot of TV shows show bands in this light, that they're absolutely awful and no one wants to hear them, but that they're all really, really nerdy about this subject. Then you have media outlets, like the movies. I know American Pie has done a lot of damage to the band students' image. American Pie, if you don't know, with students at band camp, and they show them all just really, they're nerdy students. They're kind of misfits in the real world, and so now they're here all together, all these misfits clumped together at band camp, and basically they portray them as people who can't really get with anyone else in the real world, so they're all kind of dating each other in this little band camp. They're all very promiscuous with each other, and they really show band kids in a horrible light. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of non-band people see, and that's what they associate with band kids. And that's not how it is. Another example, which is a great example of how the media is just portraying these kids, is that The Secret Life of the American Teenager. It's a TV show on ABC Family, if you haven't heard of it, where once again, during band camp, two band students get together, a percussionist guy and a girl who plays French horn, and the girl ends up pregnant and has a baby. Once again, they're showing the kids at band camp, and they are promiscuous, and they're not showing the band kids in a very fair light, unfortunately. So let me get to the point of my paper. Like I said before, a lot of people who aren't in band assume that all band kids are the same. They're all cut from the same mold, this nerdy mold of people who just can't fit in with the real world, and they're passionate about their music, which it's true, band kids are very passionate about what they do. But not all of them are. Not all band kids are created equal. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Band is a very broad term. There's the concert band and the marching band, and then there's jazz band, and then there can also be other little groups. I know at my high school we are a performing arts school, so they had a steel drum class, which is affiliated with the band, and also a guitar class, an acoustic guitar class, and that was also affiliated with the band. Marching bands have an even bigger meaning. Marching band, you have all of the students in it, but then you also have the drill team that usually goes along with the marching band. These are people who usually don't play instruments, but they do flag drills and that part of the marching show. So really there are a lot of people who are interested in different things encompassed under the one term band. So when you think about it, all these people who have these different interests are going to be different. So right there, you can't really say that all band kids are the same, because they're not. There are different bands they belong to. Some people in high school, most people do, if they belong to the concert band, then they'll belong to the marching band as well, but some opt out of it, so that's not all the time. Usually, if people are in the jazz band, they're also in concert band. And the same goes for marching band. Usually, if they're in marching band, they're in concert band. It's kind of like a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle isn't a square. It's like one of those types of things. You can be in concert band and not be in marching band, but usually if you're in marching band, you're in concert band. So you have these people, they're all interested in different things. Some of them are mixing and are in both groups. So right there you have differences. Within the bands, obviously there are different sections. There's woodwind, brass, and percussion. And these sections are going to have differences. Usually it's the percussion section that's more different. Through my interviews, I found a lot of our woodwinds and brass players, they're not usually too fond of percussion players. And also I found out during my interviews, usually the percussionists are more accepted by the other high school students, which is interesting. The percussionists tend to have the cooler image. I thought that was very funny. The sections, the brass and the woodwinds, they break down into different instruments. So woodwinds consist of flutes, clarinets, oboes, saxophones, bassoon. Those are different instruments that are woodwinds. Then you have brass, which is trumpet, trombone, tuba, baritone, French horn. And there's cornets, and some people call baritones euphoniums. Sousaphone's just a marching tuba. So within those groups you have the different instruments, and usually instruments will group together, and people that play different instruments, they have something in common. Flute players all play the flute. I played the flute. So when I hear that someone else played the flute too, I take an interest in them right away. We have something in common, we can talk about it. So right off the bat, those are different people. I found a lot of my interviews, the people mentioned that people had certain personalities, and you could usually tell the instrument someone played by their personality. And while I was observing the band camp, I could kind of see this too. The clarinet players are usually a little bit more creative, a little unique, I guess. I had one person describe them as crazy. The saxophone players are usually the cool, mellow. The flute players tend to date the other sections, I was told. And they're usually the more girly girls. There are some guys that play flute, but typically it's those real girly girls. Someone described the trumpet players as complete jerks, which I thought was funny. Someone said they were cocky, just things like that. So you also find that typically people in the same class standing group together, seniors definitely will hang out together. They kind of have a sort of eliteness about them. They're older, more mature than some of the other students, so you'll find a lot of them hang out together. There's also the fact that they've been there for 4 years and they know more about each other than anyone else knows about them, so they're going to hang out together. Freshmen definitely will hang out together. Typically freshmen hang out with other freshmen that they know from middle school. Coming to high school band is very scary, so freshmen tend to stick around together. They don't really know how it goes yet, so they kind of rely on each other for support. You know, those are the different people in the band. They're all completely different people. Some of them have more of a level of commitment to the band than others do, and that also distinguishes them from the other band members. Some are very committed to it, and are in leadership actually, and leadership's a group of all its own. And some members don't really care. I don't know why they're even in the band, but, you know, the level of commitment definitely sets them apart from the rest of the band. The band is an extremely different group. Someone called it a melting pot of people, and it is. It's easy to see when people wear their band shirts. I'm wearing a band shirt now. This one's from my freshman year. We did a West Side Story show, so it says Mambo on it. When an entire marching band wears their shirts, they all look the same, but they're all different people. Common thing that they have that can unite all of them is their passion for the music and playing the music. Other than that, they're all different. They all have different feelings about this band and what they're doing. So that's really it. That's all I have to present to you. Hopefully you learned a little bit. Thanks for listening. Bye.